The Ontario Junior Lacrosse League game of the week here in the playoffs brings us to Mimico Arena and the first game between the Mimico Mountaineers and the Brampton Excelsiors. After 3 great games last night, this one setting up to be a great series as well. A lot of hatred, a lot of rivalry between these two teams. I'm Matthew Carrick alongside Jonathan Donville, a player who knows a little bit about that. You played in one of the most fierce ones just a few years ago, 2017.
Well, we've made it to the start of the first game with no incident. So in my day, we would have never let that happen. But so far, so good here from Mimico Arena. It is as warm in here, Matty, as you would expect it is.
Which may have something to do with the fact that, I mean, the crowd, not what I would have expected it to be either here tonight. So if you're stayed at home to watch this one, shame on you, first and foremost.
But congrats on the AC.
Yes.
I think there's a classic, a little bit of jostling here off the first whistle. They heard me talking and they said, got to get my rep up.
Don't want to insult Jonathan Donville here. There's the opening face-off out of the way as the Excelsiors wear their purple and gold and go right to left away from their trade deadline acquisition. Marcus Medill, who has been, shy of phenomenal, I think. Right close to that mark, however, for the Excelsiors. Here's Nolan Byrne, who turned it on offensively down the stretch as he gets run into the outside boards. This is an aggressive Mimico defense. Actually, aggressive defense on both sides of the equation here in this one. Nate Whittam starting for the Excelsiors, for the Mountaineers, who are in their double blue. Big high step, Nolan Marshall. He works towards the cage and in the crease, Mike Melvin with that call, along with Sean Grenier and Mark Thompson tonight.
Yeah, good start there for Whittam. Nice save. He probably heard us on the broadcast talking about Kaizik and O'Toole yesterday. A lot of other goalies in contention. A lot of great goalies in this league, Matty, looking to show what they got in the playoffs.
Here's a sidearm shot from Finn Thompson off the end boards. Spins and shoots on a second chance as Dudemain found him. And now Justin Lee will pick up. Got the final game off, did most of this offense for Mimico. Ended up dropping at 9-5. Which allowed the Six Nations Arrows to sneak into the playoff picture and pick up a win last night in Peterborough. Here's Dudemain off the crossbar. This one sails sky high and into the screening, though.
Yeah, something to watch throughout this game. You have different styles here on the left side for Mimico. Waters and Dudemain, 2 21-year-old guys, big, strong players. Moran Weeks, also 21, but a smaller, slicker player. They have a lot to deal with on that left side. A deep group over there.
Finn Thompson gets knocked over for the first time in 2 years, not the scoring champion in the OJLL. Meanwhile, Phoenix pulling, trying to push transition in that shot just wide of Whittam off the end boards. This has been a Mimico team that you commented on in your Lacrosse Culture Daily video as we watch Moran Weeks right on the doorstep.
What a
split save made by Medill. This Mimico team that started undefeated, then had a little lapse, and then turned it on again and kind of limp into this playoff picture.
Yeah, Matty, but we've been talking about this throughout the playoffs. You can kind of tell in this team. You can tell with the energy a little bit. I caught them at Ted Reeve just 2 weeks ago, and they took it to the Beaches. That was one of the first real losses for the Beaches, as I believe Acton gets the scoring going here for Brampton. Good setup here. I believe that's Ty Scott with the ball. Finds Acton, just a good split move. Got to get on the hands. If guys can shoot through you, it means you're not covering them. For Mimico, a nice shot. And we're going to have an infraction here by the Mountaineers off the face-off. Headed back, Brampton ball.
In some of those lapses, it's been penalties that have given them trouble, despite being a pretty good power play team led by Finn Thompson and the offense as it's tried to work to the cage there. Aaron Taguri took his man down and then gave him a two-hander as the ball is back in the corner. Him and Byrne are still going at each other as it works back up to Quinn Little, who will wear number 9 on the left side of the offense for Brampton tonight. Byrne had no intentions of playing that ball. It gets whistled for the over and back, and then Justin Tavares did not get the quick restart he wanted.
For those paying attention at home, Tavares has had 2 basically one-on-one looks now in front of the goal. He doesn't play offense. He plays out the back door.
Yes.
A very good loose ball player. Certainly could play offense. He's skilled enough to play offense. But a guy who I really love watching. And if you're wondering, he is John Tavares' son, the lacrosse one. John Tavares' son. So no surprise that he can do everything. His dad, one of the great players in the history of the game. And if you listen to guys from his era of playing, they talk about his ability to play defense, pick up loose balls, and do things other than scoring, although that's ultimately what he was known for.
Here's Ty Scott from the outside. He'll put it down in the corner. Quinn Little, little bit of a slip as he comes back over the top, now shoots. That one off of Whittam and in towards the corner. First one there was Ethan Viveiros, wearing number 42 for the Excelsiors this evening.
Yeah, Ty Scott, the brother of Justin Scott, former Mountaineer, former teammate of mine. Once upon a time, scored a big overtime goal right not far from where I'm standing right now to send us back to Brampton in 2018. 2017 was the series a lot of folks remember, but we had a good one in 18 as well.
Yes. Dudemain down towards the corner for Alex Roussel here on the run. Back to number 24. Thought he had room through the middle. Little push off there on Pullen. Still got the shot away. It's off Medill. Straight to Tyler Clark, who's headed down floor in transition.
Dudemain is a load to deal with. Just a bit of a shrug move there, just telling his defender, get off me. Gets a good look, but Medill's been up to the task here so far.
Out through the middle, slamming on the brakes. Nolan Marshall, he'll get back towards the outside. Comes to Byrne, finding a man on the front of the crease, and Eric Acton has done it again.
This is an Excelsiors team that a lot of folks wrote off, Maddie, at the trade deadline. Trading goaltender Connor O'Toole, Dante Bowen, Bowie Horseman, 3 of their best players. But they've been really good since then. They beat Mimico just a few weeks ago, 10-9, and then dropped a game that Medill didn't play in. But just good action by Acton and a good swing. That's what you're looking for, 2 past goals. Starts on one side, flips to the other side, right back to the initial side. That's where goals come from. And Maddie, even going back to last night, playoffs is about scoring from the middle from right in front of the goal. You got to get to the hard areas. The goalies are too good at this level, and in playoff time to kind of settle for the outside stuff. 2 good looks here for Brampton.
For my money, one of the better draw takers in the OJLL, Nicholas Belmonte, for the Excelsiors, wins the possession back just after they scored. So now Eric Acton 2-0 up on Mimico here. Falling towards the crease was Viveiros. And
it's going to be Aaron Taguri heading to the
penalty.
box here.
The ever-popular hooking call.
There you go.
Get one right out of the gates here. And Taguri on Nolan Byrne going to be one to watch so far, as they had a spirited battle on that first offensive possession. I think the officials saw a little too much there that carried over, but if Byrne starts to get going, it's usually problems for his opponents. Here's Vincent. Steps up and scores. What a move.
Maddie, the thing you got to love about this, if you're a Mimico fan, is swagger. Vincent was going to shoot this thing the whole way. He pulls out right here, but he wants to score. It goes right at his man, ends up going to the bench, then just makes a great move. This is not really a prototypical shot that you want to see. They're down a man here. If you were going to be critical, you could say that's not the shot you're looking for. But Vincent says, I'm inserting myself into this series. I'm going to go make a play for my club, and he buries a nice one to the bottom right corner. If Mimico can get scoring from their defensive personnel, Maddie, and we've seen a couple good looks already from Vincent, Tavares, etc., look out, because their offense is pretty good, and if they can win the transition battle, I think they're going to be in business.
How about the celly after that from Vincent as well?
Going with the Dante Bowen mismatched shoes, by the way. Have a look at that next time he's down here. They're just a little bit more muted colors, but 2 different shoe colors.
In and out of the stick there of Nicholas Volkov, the lone trade deadline pickup for the Mimico Mountaineers. Thought they may have done more coming into the deadline, as they were again, on a good run. We know they're a good team, but just had that little lull just as the deadline was starting to come.
Yeah, Volkov's a good pickup for them, though. A guy who comes over from Burlington, played, I believe, 13 games for the Albany Firewolves. There's not that many guys kicking around junior, Matty, that have played that many NLL games. Aside from the skill set and the obvious ability that it takes to do that, it's nice to have those guys around who have played in big games. Obviously, a part of that Albany Firewolves run to the NLL Finals. I don't know if he played in the playoffs, but still just being around that is invaluable experience for a team looking to make a similar run to the Minto Cup.
Jacob Janke in front of Whittam. Goaltenders have 4 seconds to get it out of the crease here in the OJLL and did not do it in the required time. And Acton's shot hits off the dasher and goes up out of play.
I got to be honest, Matty, I'm not sure how many times I've ever seen the 4-second actually called. The goalies get the benefit of the doubt on that all the time.
There's been a few of them this season, though, and a few more than I've seen over the last couple of years since that rule came. And when it was 5, as Dudemaine now goes across to Justin Lee. In tight, Mark Waters turns and shoots, finds the backboards instead. Now only 5 to get one on Medill, and they're a long way from home, so Waters will just dump it into the corner.
You know, good possession there by Brampton, killing the penalty, but that's a good example when Mimico can go Lee, Thompson, Dudemaine, and Waters. That's 4 guys who are A, 21 years old or close to it, and B, like 6'2" or taller, right? Not many teams can do that out the front door.
Up top, the shot comes there from Nolan Marshall. Whittam making the save, and here comes transition again for Mimico. They go to their captain, Finn Thompson, who stops up and shoots. Didn't look like him initially with all white gloves as opposed to the orange Syracuse flash that we saw from.
I got a pair of Cornell gloves he could wear if he needs them.
His teammate Vincent. Here's Moran Weeks.
I think he might be wearing Marquette gloves, which is a staple of the Thompson brothers, just wearing each other's gear over the years.
Why wouldn't you? They've worked in this building.
There's enough gear in that garage as Mimico is going to get a penalty behind the play here. 6-on-5 for the Excelsiors.
Tyler Clark took a high stick right in front of the official that was on this side. It's actually Sean Grenier on the far side of the floor that calls it. Our first penalty of the game upcoming here potentially. Number of fakes from Byrne before finally getting it through. Rebound rolls into the corner. First one there was Acton, who picked it up to extend the possession, and now it's back towards Mimico's net, and we will get the call. Second time, I should correct myself, Mimico going to the box as they had the first one earlier in the game.
Yeah, tough one for Dudemaine there behind the play. Those are the ones that, you got to try to avoid this time of year. Always going to get the second guy typically in those confrontations. We've seen that as long as we've been watching lacrosse.
So about 2 minutes away now from the halfway mark of this first period.
Diamond here from Mimico.
Shot and a goal. Nolan Marshall. Takes 13 seconds of power play time.
What a song. What a song coming on here at Mimico Arena. Just a good shot from Marshall. Mimico is going to slide into a diamond here. The idea of a diamond is typically to take away, the top 3 guys. Volkov's in a pretty good lane, and we've seen this shot, Matty, from Marshall throughout the year. He's got an ability as a right-handed player to get his stick up in the air and yank it down to the bottom left corner. It's a hard shot to hit, takes a lot of strength in the wrist and maybe a little bit of whip in the stick, but if you can hit it really hard for the goalies to read, especially when their inclination is to lean towards the far side. If you can rope it short side low, it's a pretty good shot. This is, pretty much a dream scenario here for the Excelsiors to start. This is exactly what you're looking for through the first 9 and change. Watch out for Tavares in these situations. Really good off the face-off.
Although it is Belmonte again that gets it and runs in on Whittam. No time to get a twist shot away with that face-off twig. And now it will be picked up and turned back the other way. Lee all the way up top to Dudemaine. He'll come across the Waters now. Down in the corner, Thompson tried to feed it through to the cutting Dudemaine. It hit a body in front, and Medill went for the clean catch.
Yeah, that was a good set piece there from Mimico. Tries to feed it in to Dudemaine. I think maybe the backside guy was open there, But that's a good look for Mimico. Those kind of late up picks off ball have been really successful for them this season.
Byrne over the top, trying to find Jacob Janke. He walks in and shoots, and a moving screen called against Mimico. And this is, too many calls that are just a little bit over the line so far. If you're on that Mimico bench, giving Brampton extra opportunities.
Yeah, just playing a lot of defense so far as well. You got to try to find a way to get this possession game going in your favor, especially, as you mentioned, with the Brampton face-off advantage likely to continue. That's a big save for Whittam.
With Byrne trying to go airborne right in front of him. Byrne, rightfully so, drawing a lot of attention from the Mimico defenders so far in the early going here tonight. First game of a best-of-5 series in the opening round here in the OJLL. Waters over the top. He'll push back now. Here's Dudemain again. That's Neil Adamson stepping up. Owen Chuvayello fell, and stepping in Isaiah Moran-Weeks with the rebound and the goal.
Good set here from Mimico. This play is really going to start with a nice hitch move from Lee. So Dudemain gets it out to Lee. He's open here, but says, no, I'm going to take a little bit more, a little bit of an ankle breaker. And then Medill comes out with almost the Dylan Ward style top of the crease save. Obviously, the rebounds are going to be tough when you have to come out that far. Does a great job challenging the first one, makes it tough, and Moran-Weeks collects the second one. If Mimico goes on a run here, Maddie, Moran-Weeks is going to be a big part of it. A guy we've been talking about all summer with eyes towards the playoffs. It's time, not it's time, because he's been really good, but this is a time of year when guys with his skill set become really valuable.
I know you're a big Moran-Weeks fan. Here's Dudemain from up top. That shot.
Oh, he almost made me look smart there.
If he grabs that rebound, Medill is down, and it's the wide open top of the cage one more time.
Yeah, Moran-Weeks plays his college lacrosse at High Point University. Second leading scorer ever there is Dan Lomas. Not the first.
Eric Acton to the outside. I knew you had to get the High Point reference in. I also knew you had to get the dig in.
The leading scorer, by the way, is Braden Maillet, another guy who's played a lot of box across St. Catharines area, or actually Windsor product, played for St. Catharines.
Here come Mimico transition. Tavares gave off to his line mate that time. And Britton Pitt could only put it into the pads of Medill.
Yeah, Mimico will take that, though. That's what they want to do. They want to get up and run. A lot of athletic bodies back there.
Here's Janke. Defender falls in the crease of Whittam. Doesn't distract him, though, as he recovers to make the save. And look out, Vincent is down floor again. Connor Blondin did well to come off the bench. Although Vincent nearly beat him around the corner. Had Adamson coming over to cut off the angle. Played back. Cross here for Moran-Weeks. Now Thompson shoots through traffic. That one stepping up to meet it was Medill. Bouncing ball right near the side of the net. And Medill wants a water break.
I think he took that one right between the eyes, Matt. I hope he's okay here. Looks like he's fine, just adjusting the mask, but that one from Thompson got him right in the face. Hopefully nothing's too wrong with his bucket here. We'll head for the water break. What a player Vincent's been, by the way, for Mimico. And one of these guys who can play on both sides of the ball really becomes important in playoff time. Man, thinking more about the game we saw last night, guys like Aiden Long played basically a regular offensive shift. That's such a weapon for your team. And the ability to control the tempo, both going backwards and forwards. You can get up and run, try to trap offensive players, and then you can cut the break, have guys getting back early who are capable defenders, guys up in the forecheck. It's an option here. A couple guys like that on this Mimico team. Tavares can stay and play. Vincent can stay and play. The McDonnells can stay and play. There's guys who are comfortable up there. It's something to watch here for Mimico.
Well, and on the other side of that, you look at Matt Collison, who did it a couple times.
Sure.
An offensive player who if he gets stuck out there, can definitely hold his ground defensively as well. Last night, Orangeville taking a 1-0 series lead here on the Game of the Week. As his shot from the outside hits the post from Brampton, and 2 Mountaineers are going to chase it down floor. No over and back, as that did come off the iron. Bounces past both Callum Witter and Justin Tavares. For my money, 2 of the top transition players here in the league.
Yep, Callum Witter, friend of the program, Matty.
Yeah. Got to meet him in Orangeville the other night. Said some complimentary things about our broadcast, and I've been saying complimentary things, and rightfully so, all season about his play. Down in the corner, here's Kyle Waters. Player falls in front and might have distracted Juviello and Medill because Mimico scores.
Roussel's going to get this one of the unsung heroes on this Mimico offense. Going to have to see the replay here. Yeah, Finn takes one, right below the kidney pads. Look like those hurt. Anyone that's played this game knows that those hurt. But a good example of he goes to the dirty area, draws 2, ends up drawing a penalty, and then Roussel, finishes it off. There's ways to impact the game and ways to impact scoring other than just goals and assists. And a good example there from Finn going to the dirty areas, and Roussel, gets the goal.
Witter swarmed after corralling that face-off, lost his stick, and now Tavares gets tripped up. It was his stick that was down errant on the floor.
Justin Tavares, face-off, loose ball there. That game I went to at Ted Reeve, he had like 12 of them, something to watch. He's really good at finding the ball, getting it going in the right direction.
Cross here to Waters. Don't look down, but this game is tied at 3. Just under 7 minutes to play here in the first period. Dudemain right in front of our broadcast position, knocked down by Adamson. Gets back up, wheels over the top, low shot. Handled by Medill as it's down in his pads.
Yeah, him and Dudemain and Waters love shooting those on-the-run sweep shots, and they can get them pretty much whenever they want. They're so big and athletic, you got to obviously worry about them getting underneath. Good example, Dudemain gets the ball in the corner there. Possession's kind of dead in the water, and he ends up getting a pretty good look at the end of it.
Stuff in the play there was Kyle Kerrigan. Still ends up in a Brampton shot from the outside, however, with Whittam making the save. Much like we talked about last night in Orangeville, it looked like Brampton was going to go on a run here and take over this first period, but just ever so slowly, Mimico holding it right where they need to and then chipping away at the lead, and now we're tied at 3. Kyle Waters steps in that shot wide. It's going to find the screening.
Yeah, and how often do we see it come in non-conventional ways, right? Vincent gets the goal on the penalty kill, a play that sometimes you would see guys pull out. He goes and makes a play for his team, gets the energy going, settles it in a little bit as the crowd fills in a little bit more, and certainly more full on the Mimico side, so a bit of a home floor advantage here for the Mountaineers.
Ty Scott chased all the way up towards the restraining line. Now Eric Acton, that shot hit off Whittam, bounces back through the middle where it's picked up by Mimico, and Vincent is snuck in behind everybody again. You're right, one red, one blue, one shot that sails over top of Medill. Ty Carty, no back in, Belmonte picks it up, collides with Moran Weeks. Trent Robertson wanted a penalty called, and
bad luck there for Dudemain.
Yeah, possession turnover instead on the over and back at center.
Robertson going with that old school black shoe, black sock look, man. You don't see that all the time anymore. I love it. Too many ankle socks now.
Ankle socks. We got white shoes. We got no socks. We got green, one red, one blue.
It's lawlessness.
The YouTube chat was not enjoying the Dante Bowen kick selection last night as Medill. Angus McDonnell coming in. That shot bounced around in the wickets before he found it.
McDonnell was shooting that thing the entire way. Did a nice job of selling that he was looking to pass, but he was going all the way there. That's a good look. Mimico will take those.
Hidden ball play here. Acton kept it the entire way. There was a bit of discussion whether or not it was in the stick of Janke. Now it is, Quinn Little, who takes the spot of the injured Chris De Silva, who's missed the last well, I would say nearly last month of the season, right after the trade deadline, which is the worst time to lose what Pat O'Toole called the workhorse of this offense.
Penalty coming here to Mimico.
Down goes an Excelsior player on the right side, and I think that is Acton as this ball bounces back across the timeline, and it'll be a slashing call.
Yeah, it's going to be Begley going off here. Not sure if we're going to have this one. I think he's in the corner here off the broadcast. So Brampton going back to the power play here. Marshall had the goal on the last one. Going strong right. We'll see. Yeah, we looks like we got that diamond again here. The weakness of the diamond should be around the creases on the pipes.
Brampton realizes it and puts it behind the net. Now they'll go up top. Through Byrne to Scott, looking for that cross crease pass to Janke. And Janke ran through the crease, making him an illegal player. And then Janke taken down in the corner. And another turnover.
Yeah, interestingly here, Brampton kind of matched fire with fire and actually went to a diamond against the diamond. It's pretty effective in the winter, a lot harder in the summer when you can't dunk it from behind the net. That really limits the danger of that guy back there. We'll see. Looks like there's hard to, a little bit to tell from our angle, but it's the diamond again.
As if there weren't enough lawyers in this part of town. Now we got diamond and diamond talk. Byrne down towards the corner. Scott and Byrne playing catch. Acton wants it. Not going to get it. Now he does and shoots. Whittam with the save. Bounces straight out to Nolan Marshall, however. He got knocked down, couldn't pick it up cleanly. And it'll be Volkov who eventually gets it out of harm's way halfway through this power play.
Yeah, that's a good stand there. Pretty much a minute of penalty kill straight for Mimico. No super dangerous shots, doing a good job of moving on the penalty kill, going from that diamond to the box, trying to take away the cross creases.
Little toe drag move on the side of Mark. Waters got a shot away on Medill. Now as Janke crosses center, there's 40 seconds left. Here in the man advantage. They'll put it in the stick of Nolan Byrne. Now Acton, Scott going down to the far crease. Playing through Marshall. Byrne around the screen. Covering nicely though was Tagur. He ended up with the strip and the loose ball.
Yeah, Matty, the best thing about playing a diamond is just how different it is from regular conventional penalty kills, and it just throws you out of the flow. And I think it's worked here on this one. Just you have to run different plays. You got to talk about it a little bit differently. So a good curveball here early from the Mimico bench. Just taking the Brampton guys out of their flow.
Power play now 1 for 3 for the Excelsiors. Mountaineers yet to be on one. Owen Chuviello, Connor Blond, and that does not look like a fun time for some of these Mimico forwards here in this series. Here's Nolan Byrne around Little's screen. Little takes the ball now, tries to cut towards the net and scores.
A great play here, finished off by Little, going to work with Byrne in the two-man. You know, lots of guys have hit this shot. I think of Callum Crawford. I've seen him hit this one a lot. Going down the alley, just when you think he's out, he just reaches the ball around to the far foot of Whittam. That's a big goal to curve the run here by Mimico before the break. And for Brampton to get 4 goals so far, and I don't believe Matty Byrne has any of them, that's a really good sign, right? Your stars, you know they're going to get going at some point. Secondary scoring really is one of the keys to the whole playoffs for every team. So to get scoring from other guys is really important.
Delayed penalty coming here. Not going to matter, though, as they score again, Jacob Janke.
Wow, playing Freebird here. This song's like 12 minutes. Yeah, the play here is obviously from Robertson. Just picks up a tough loose ball, gets himself out of traffic, and then takes like 4 hard slashes. Janke ends up finishing it as the non-burn scoring continues for Brampton. A great sign. Just a blown assignment there from Mimico. And then an opportunity here for Brampton with the face-off differential going their way to get another possession here before the break. If you're Mimico, you got to buckle down here. You got to get a stop. Can't give up 3 goals in the last minute.
Especially after, it looked like they were headed to the room with a
tie.
At least a tie,
Yep.
yeah. From the outside, looking to go 2 for 1 there.
Yeah,
smart. Ty Scott.
Smart by Scott. That's good timing. They got it in at about 41 seconds, so they'll get a legit, opportunity with a 6-on-5, Matty. You know my take that sometimes those happen so late, you just blow a possession. But that's good timing by Brampton.
Waters to the outside. Now working it around the horn, down into the corner. Lee, Dudemain, too much on Ben Baker. Knocked the stick out of his hands. It comes with 16.6 left, and Brampton will burn their first time out.
Yeah, off-ball infraction there. Looked like from Mimico. I think Moran Weeks was open there. They missed him inside. The gaps are going to get smaller in the playoffs, no doubt about it, especially, Mimico and Brampton, Matty, 2 of the smallest rinks in the circuit here. The openings are small. You got to hit them when they're there. So 16 seconds left here. I mean, anyone's guess, right? Brampton without Horseman, they've kind of just had a by committee approach here. So you'd figure Byrne is going to be involved in some way. Most defenses in 6-on-5 will try to shut somebody. A bit of a tough decision if you're Mimico here. The only other thing to watch is with 16 seconds still left, maybe a little time for Mimico to try to jump the ball, try to get something towards the empty net at the end of the quarter. Based on some of their other decisions, Vincent's going to come up here and play the ball. That'd be a good sign that maybe he tries to make a play.
It'll be started in the stick of Eric Acton. Also Quinn Little out there.
Yeah, Mimico
Nolan
seems
Byrne,
like they're
Ty Scott.
trying to slide up, trying to make a play here, which I don't mind with 15 seconds left.
Jacob Janke, Nolan Marshall, the other forwards for the Excelsiors. Acton continues to peek behind him and check the clock. Acton now past the screen, down towards the net. Loose ball, it is picked up by Mimico. Do they have time? The answer is no, as there's a couple extra shoves right there at the horn, but a good period if you're the Brampton Excelsiors, who come away leading 5-3.
Yeah, just a fun period of lacrosse, too. A little bit higher scoring than yesterday's first period. Both these teams, frankly, look pretty comfortable to me. I think the Excelsiors, no fear, and not looking like they traded their best guys at all. This team's ready to win, and it's going to be a fun rest of the 40 minutes here.
Well, that's kind of how Brampton's looked down the stretch for sure. We'll see what the conversations are like in the locker rooms. Have your own at home. Second period comes your way in about 10 minutes. This is the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League Game of the Week, fueled by Gatorade.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Get ready, Ottawa. Box lacrosse is returning to its Canadian roots and giving the nation's capital the team they deserve.
What's up, OJLL fans? Recently on the Back of the Bird podcast, we have been asking your favorite NLL players and some legends too about their interesting gear that they wore throughout their careers. So old gear, some guys used the same piece of equipment throughout their whole careers, and we've had some good stories with the early days of the NLL too. You can find the Back of the Bird podcast at www.lacrosseculturedaily.com and also follow Lacrosse Culture Daily for box lacrosse coverage all summer long. Let's get into it. Here are some of the most interesting responses we've had about lacrosse equipment.
Was there any and obviously you played for some time too, was there any specific piece of equipment you had forever, or some sort of like a weird thing that you would wear, or something you couldn't, get rid of, or anything like that?
I don't know if you guys remember this. You could probably, Paulie might be able to remember it because you might have been playing around when I was still going. You would have been. I had the cage, but what I did was I had the ear flaps because I got the bad ears, right? So believe it or not, guys take your head off and you cut my ears up. But the biggest thing is because of the beak. So the mask was always so close, and I didn't want it. I didn't want the Jason Walder way out there, the helmet wheelie. So what I did, I had to have the mask, and the hooder was about like this far, guys, from my face. So I went to like my grade 9 football guy, and I said, I want one of those chin cups, those real foam, like real tough chin cups. And I put my chin strap on. I have a real good snap, and you could punch me in the face, cross-check me right here, and it wouldn't go into my face. And I wore that till I was done. But I got gummed so bad. But you know what? You grow up with this thing, you hurt back pretty good. So
that's amazing.
I love it.
Was there any piece of gear that you used like the whole way through? Any piece of like ironically old gear that you had, or you always kind of stayed up to date?
I used one piece of mesh my entire NLL career.
No way.
What?
That's
Yeah.
one. Like
You know what's really sad though? I was coaching and I left it at the Ladner covered box and I've lost
Oh,
it.
it's gone?
Oh,
It's just gone after all those years. Yeah. So now I have a warp. It's embarrassing.
Oh, no.
we can
Like,
get
I
you a
can leave it
stick.
wherever-
Dude. You still?
Because I can leave it wherever and it just throws the same forever.
Well, it's a gear related story. So I used the same set of shoulder pads and kidney pads since I want to say it was 2000. It was 2000. Marty O'Neill just started Max Lax.
Yeah.
And I still have the pads. My son yanked them out because I kept them. I wanted to put them in a case because I worn them for, basically, in my 17 years, I think it was like 15 years. They're sewed together multiple times, but I still got the Max Lax gear. And I remember he gave them to me and I was like, one piece. They had like the arm pads were built into it. I ended up cutting the arm pads off. I used those for a couple of years, but the shoulder pads, kidney pads, they're all like in one little piece. I would throw my gear on, like I could have my jersey on, just be like a goalie and just kind of put my arms through. But yeah, I used them my whole career, and I still think they're solid gear. Not much padding, but they were solid for me, anyways. So
That's awesome.
Gear now has changed so much.
Well, the question we've been asking is how old are your kidney pads? So that you answered actually the question. But one other gear-related question: what was it like that one year when you guys had to wear the field helmets in the NLL?
Oh, they had the orange right here, right? Those ones. Yeah, they were awful. So we ended up doing a few guys kept them, and you had to wear a 4-pointer. So everybody kind of adjusted the 4-pointer so it wasn't sitting on your chin. And I remember the first few games, you had the big plastic piece that went underneath. And anytime you turn your head, you'd hit your shoulder pads and stuff like that. So guys started like hacking off the bottom part, but the mask wasn't long enough. So it was like just basically like it wasn't even under your chin. So then we're like, okay, we had these funky kind of plastic pieces in the front. So we're like, let's take these cages off. And then we would jerry rig these other cages
love this era
back
of
on
the
there.
league.
And like most of the time they were like, taped, or like we added new screw holes and, put screws in. So by the end of the year, most of our team, there was a few games, maybe AJ Shannon was the only one that was used to playing field lacrosse and he still wore it. Everybody else had kind of gassed the mask. A few teams, I think it was like Washington, they mandated that you couldn't change the helmet. I was in Buffalo at the time and we tore it up. We didn't care what the league said. We were like, no, we were the bad news bandits. We could do what we wanted. So that's what we did.
And the last one is we've had some guys on, they've talked about like Garrett Billings said he used like the same piece of mesh his whole NLL career. Like you've seen the kidney pads I wear, those things are from Pee Wee. Like, is there any kind of like hilarious little piece of gear that you have, or any like certain thing that you do to your gear whenever you get it, or anything like that?
No, I don't really like cut my gloves or anything, or anything like that. I would, so basically when I tape a stick at the beginning of the season, like I'll tape it, pretty high up the shaft.
Don't say you're the one tape a year guy.
Yeah, I went through I went through 5 shafts this year. So like, I was, 5 shafts, 18 games. So, you're taping it every 3rd game essentially. But yeah, no, I tape it at the beginning of the year and then I don't touch it.
That's amazing. That makes Donnie want to throw up on the spot.
It does. Actually, my roommate in college, like, I think went 2 years before he taped his stick, and it pissed me off. It shouldn't. It's just a stupid thing that I'm.
Yeah, like that whole time I was injured. I didn't play, so I had this stick that was just super yellow and greasy because I was using the stick all the time, but it wasn't getting hit or anything. Right. And so the tape was like basically part of the shaft at that point. So until I bent that, like I went 2 years, I think, or no, not 2. It was probably 15 months with that tape on it, and when I broke
it turns to dust when you take it off. It's like it's basically rip it apart, and you can't get it off. It's leaving half the sticky part on the shaft if you ever do retape it. But that's funny.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow along with Lacrosse Culture Daily all summer long. Let's get back to more OJLL action.
Teams get set to return to the floor for the second period. 5-3 after 1 for the Brampton Excelsiors here in Mimico, game number 1 of this series. And we have some breaking OJLL news. Tonight, Jonathan Donville had his first Mimico pizza sandwich. The look on your face, by the way, was priceless when I said that.
It's been a long summer, Matty. It's been a long summer.
Thought you missed something, but well, we need the verdict now. Your first one.
On a scale of 10, like it's got to be over a 9, right? Like they're really good.
Yeah. Chef Mike knows what he's doing.
Chef Mike, the cheese is like Kraft Singles, but plastic. More plastic in the best way, and great portion. I get it with the onions. It was great. We've been batting around the idea of doing a little bit of a food series here as we visit all these venues. So next time I'll have to get the review online, but I will be frequenting the P-Mills. And for those people getting on my case, I've never been here for games that I haven't played it.
Right.
It's not exactly the pregame, the pregame meal, and back in the day. There were other spots to head after the game too. So, and also there's always a good tailgate outside as well with the parents. So lots of food options here.
When I heard that last year, I couldn't believe it, and then I remembered, oh yeah, he was here playing.
Yeah.
Roussel was down, and Robertson slashed the stick out of his hands. Roussel continuing to discuss with the official, Sean Grenier, as is Nate Whittam. Mimico going right to left here in this second period. And down 2 goals.
We want to mention too, Matty, we talked about this at the half, but you and I are watching from the far end here.
Yes.
So if it felt like, our coverage was a little bit more slanted towards Mimico in the last period, we apologize. Hope to even that out here as the ends flip. But we are a little bit at a different vantage point, which is great. We get to pick up on things we don't otherwise see when we're up in the in the press box, but a bit of a different vantage point for us.
Great spot to sit and watch, not so much when the play is down in the net to our left, which is where Marcus Medill is for this second period. Here's Nolan Byrne. Billings stands him up, then the shot, and Angus McDonnell collided with Byrne, got the worst of that, ended up in his own net.
Yeah, Byrne get the shot off, give him a stiff arm. McDonnell, he got up in a hurry. I was wondering if he was going right back at 22, but just getting up he's going to stay and play here, play an offensive shift.
If you haven't seen our Mimico games yet, a Dallas Stars draft pick last year. Played Mimico all the way up. Hasn't played in junior since the bubble season in 2021. Returned to the double blue this season as the ball comes across. Medill still made the save, but didn't have to. I think that was going to be a shot clock violation. Yes, it was. That might be the biggest stop of the night. One that doesn't count.
How often have we seen that, Matty? Big save on one end leads to a really good opportunity. Little had the look there as Brampton gets out in transition.
And then a misstep from Cole Begley, who picked it up off the end boards. Blue kicks yellow gloves for the Fashion Police in the comment section. And a bounce shot and a goal. How about that one for Ethan Vivieros?
Matty, I was going to say, when just being up close now in the corner where we are to this Brampton offense, they're big. You know, really across the board, Brampton's big, and just going to see a good up pick, just shoves Tavares and a nice touch pass in there for Brampton. Vivieros is going to get the goal. I think it was Janke on the assist there, but that's a good little play for them. And just asserting their physicality a little bit up front. Two of the biggest offenses we'll see. Certainly bigger on average than Orangeville or Beaches, which we saw last night.
If that's Janke getting the assist, that's his 5th point of the game. His goal in the first period was credited to Vivieros. Vivieros, an AP call-up, and I believe that's his first goal, the way that the bench reacted to it. Penalty coming here to Brampton. It'll be their first of the game as Dudemain shoots. And wide, it goes for the over and back, and we get the holding call.
Pretty good set piece there in the 6-on-5. Mimico goes from one side, uses the guy behind the net as a transfer. Good look for Dudemain. Didn't catch what the penalty was here, but I think, Matty, this is the first we'll see of the Mimico power play. Expect Finn Thompson to be aggressive shooting here. We've seen that throughout the year. Way more power play goals. I think he had 20 power play goals in the season, easily the tops in the OJLL. This is where he really likes to do his damage as a scorer.
This is the first game of this series. Winners last night on the first night of playoff competition. Burlington 1-0 over St. Catharines. Arrows winning in Peterborough. Our crew will be at the ILA tomorrow for a 7 p.m. start in game number 2 of that series. And, of course, you saw it right here on the Game of the Week. Orangeville 1-up on the Beaches. Game number 2 of that series goes tomorrow as well. Here's Finn Thompson to the corner. Him and Moran Weeks playing catch. It comes back to the crease. Now up top from Dudemain scores.
The play here to me is made by Roussel. Just a good upgrade. He's going to catch it to Moran Weeks over. And then Roussel, he could shoot this, right? A lot of guys probably would shoot this. Says, hey, I got a B- look. Let me upgrade, get Dudemain an A+ look. And he just punishes it home. There's something to be said, Matty, for deception. Something else to be said for hitting the low corners as hard as you can. And a good look there by Dudemain and a good answer here for the Mountaineers. 6-4 now.
Yeah, it was a little bit of punch-counterpunch in that first period as Belmonte runs in off the face-off and scores.
Matty, if there's one lesson that Belmonte's teammate gets him on a headbutt there after the goal. If there's one lesson that defenses have to learn over and over again, Matty, face-off guys are not feeders. They're shooters. Belmonte is shooting this thing right here. He is shooting this thing the whole way, gets right downhill, a great play, and just houses it. And goalies always have trouble with those face-off sticks because the releases don't look quite the same as they do for everybody else. Nice over-the-top karate chop type release for Belmonte. Spikes it down into the dirt, as they say.
Nate Whittam, you just caught him there as we came back out of the replay, headed to the bench. So I wonder if we're not going to see Adam Power come in here.
That's exactly what we're seeing because...
Speaking of Hockey Connections, younger brother of Owen Power.
Big moment here, 7-4. Obviously a tough one for Mimico there just after scoring the goal to get some momentum. You know, don't be surprised either if we see Whittam back there in a few minutes, right? Yeah. We've seen that time and time again early in the series. Might just want to give him a little bit of a settle down or also to use it as an opportunity to wake up your team just a little bit.
Well, a few miscues is that Finn Thompson taking and winning the faceoff.
Must be nice.
Do it all, Finn. Goodness.
Must be nice.
Bouncer back to Nicholas Volkov. Here's Justin Lee. Cross to Roussel.
Good save. That was that progression look we've seen from pretty much everyone this year. Most common play in the NLL because it works.
Mimico, despite scoring just 3 times in that first period, had 8 players register points. To give you an idea of how they put that period together.
So a couple repeat possessions here. This is what Mimico has done to teams when they're playing well, using that size up front, earning repeat possessions. We've seen a lot of goals on these over the summer, and then definitely something that pays off in the second or in the third period.
And being able to mix up a couple different looks as well. So no Moran Weeks. It'll be this man here, Waters, shooting behind Dudemain. Save made, another rebound. Now another save from Medill. Diving for it, Dudemain got pushed. And they'll reset again. Dudemain picked it up, wants to keep the pressure on here. Here is a change to get Moran Weeks on the floor. Finn Thompson hasn't touched it in a while. Now he does from the outside. Feeds it back in through the middle. And Moran Weeks was taken out of the play by the defense just as that pass was about to arrive.
Good stand there from Brampton. Tired bodies, that's when goals go in. Hard to tell exactly how that play ended from our angle, but just do just enough to get up the floor.
4.5 gone here in the middle stanza. Down onto the crease, in and out of the stick, Janke, and bounces back to Power.
Power getting a few minutes here. No shot, really shot there, and with the Mimico repeat possessions, getting a few minutes to get comfortable. But also, he'd probably take a shot soon just to feel one.
Kyle Kerrigan, Ben McIsaac in to blow that play up. Here's Moran Weeks from the outside. Finn Thompson to the far boards. Roussel, delayed penalty on the run. Roussel off of Medill into the corner. Ty Carty got there first, but didn't look like he was even trying to pick it up.
Yeah, there's going to be a hold here. On Adamson, I think. Yeah, Adamson's going to the box. Hold. Mimico go back to the power play. Good sell job, I think, there by Mimico. When guys are holding your stick, you got to show the ref, right? Sometimes just drop the stick, too. Does a good job of showing. I think that's a good call. Mimico's going to go back to the power play here.
For the second time today, Thompson will quarterback it up top. Down towards the corner, Moran Weeks. Back up here for Lee. That shot off the post. Bounces right back to Roussel, who will reset the shot clock. Thompson up top. Shoulder pad popping out of the jersey. As he now shoots low, and Medill will cover up. He needs one of those, a Kersey, all the gear in one.
Yeah. Boy, Medill's been sharp, though, hasn't he been, Matty? He's been really good.
Yes.
Especially on those repeat possessions. You know you're going to give up some shots on those, and on the power play, he's been really sharp.
Well, an impressive performance as well. Coming over from KW, where, he was kind of in and out of his starts.
Yep.
And now gets to come in, be the number one guy, know he's the number one guy, know that pressure from behind him perhaps isn't as much as it might have been with KW going back and forth. And, yeah, really solid for Brampton when you consider they traded away Connor O'Toole to get Medill. Zach Richards going to KW, part of a 3-team trade. Thompson went behind the net. Now Lee and Waters. Back to Finn, sidearm shot, and wide of the net, and it bounces away from Dudemain on the far side. Just kept the play alive to Roussel. Low shot hit off a defender's leg.
I think that was Blonde in there for Brampton. Good eat. Don't rub it.
So Nolan Byrne will pick it up right in front of our broadcast position. Ring Pitt and McIsaac.
Boy, Byrne's just a big athlete. That was a favorable restart for Mimico there with Pitt and McIsaac on the ball. Byrne just runs through the top hand of the check, and now they can kill the rest of the penalty.
Big swim move far side. Now it gets through Eric Acton, who scored the first 2 goals of this game back in that first period.
Yeah, first save there by my count for Power, too. Probably felt good to get an easy one there.
Thompson, penalty has expired. Back up top, Dudemain's low shot. Looked like it hit Medill. Yes, it did, before going up and out of play.
Good eat there, don't rub it.
Dudemain again. To Roussel. Now back to Dudemain. Moran Weeks trying to open space. Dudemain still with it. Moran Weeks going after Adamson now. The pass to Lee. Bounced off the head of his stick and now down into the corner. Thompson trips. All in his own and getting up slowly. Hold your breath, Mimico. Is upright and looks to be okay as he now cuts back to the net and scores. Exhale.
You think he's okay?
Exhale.
Well, Maddie, we've been talking about it here throughout this period, but this is what the repeat possessions do, right? This is the second or third shot. Dudemain gets a bunch of loose balls, right? And then he hits Thompson, who's just going at a tired defender here. Makes a really good move around Blondin, reaches around, beats Medill, who's been pretty stout here in this period. But those extra possessions, they just add up, and guys just get open, right? It's hard to always put your finger on exactly how it made an impact, but guys get open on those repeat possessions, and it'll just continue to have an impact as here we go, Belmonte again.
Not going to shoot this time. Looks to pass it back towards the timeline, and Janke will stay out and wait for the rest of the offense to join him. But again, I mean, Mimico held on just enough to keep it at 3, the largest lead for either team tonight. Here comes Byrne in contact with him. No signal yet.
It's like no goal.
Crease violation is going to be the official call. And all the way down floor is Justin Tavares, who gets rocked at the end of the play. Gets up and gives a two-hander. Right to Phoenix Pullen, sorry.
We were close, Matty. That seemed like the right call to me. I think Byrne was in there.
It wasn't so much of a dive as it was a jump in the crease. Remember, it's the cylinder rule here in Ontario Junior Lacrosse League.
Right, dives and jumps are no different with the cylinder rule.
Burns stumbled, gets up, triple team. Eventually, you're going to be Billing that pulls it out. Nicholas Volkov, who gets it into the stick of Begley, who crosses over center.
Vincent was flying there. He's had good jam all night. Got the one. Don't be surprised if he gets another.
Always that one or two guys who...
Watch for Finn Thompson here. This is progression again.
Have playoff energy. Here's Roussel into the corner. That was Thompson cutting through, and the pass was just a little too high. Bounced off his stick and right back to Medill.
Those are the ones, that game I called at Ted Reed between Mimico, I went to. We didn't call it between Mimico and Beaches. Right. Mimico just punished Beaches on those up picks and those delayed cuts, just throwing them in. Because they're so big, they can just throw it into those cutters. That's what they should keep looking for here against a good goalie.
Nolan Burns, Eric Acton, turns and shoots. Save made by Power, who stays out there and then comes to throw the screen on Vivieros.
A good fan section behind the goal here, too.
Not surprised to see them there. That started way back. I think it was your group that went to the A Provincials to help the minors, and the minor Mounties came out in force for that Junior A playoff run.
I had a stat soundbite earlier this year that ended up on social. You have a problem with one person from Mimico, you got a problem with the whole town.
Yes.
Playoff time is the best example of that.
Ty Scott and Eric Acton shoots and scores. Hat trick number 24.
Acton says, bring it on, let's go. Brampton Excelsiors fans, a super loyal, devout fan base of their own. This is more of a field lacrosse play. Acton just shooting the shot up the hash, high to low. You know, they've hit some shots here, Matty. I think Mimico's controlled the play at times, but Brampton just keeping them at arm's length. So you feel for Power just a little bit. Only one or two real shots here. He's been in the net for like 7 minutes, so it's tough to find a groove in there sometimes when you're not getting shots, but good look there from Acton.
From the outside, Thompson saw a spot, decided to go for the shot. It goes off the post and all the way back down to Power, who comes out, will feed Roussel, and they'll try again. Roussel in front to Lee, over the shoulder by the cutter. Picked up by Mimico, another reset. Dudemain sets the screen for Angus McDonnell, shoots on the run. wide and then up and out of play, so it'll be Brampton possession.
Yeah, but another 3 shots for Mimico. One off the pipe, a good look into Dudemain on one of those up-pick delayed cuts, and then a good look from McDonnell that goes out of bounds. But you'll take 3 shots on every possession.
Routinely putting up 60 a night, this double blue offense. As Ty Scott will come from up top. Meanwhile, Brampton burn through the legs. That one oohs and ahs on both sides of the stands here in Mimico.
That was slick. Connor Fields, if you're watching this, that's right out of your book.
Yes. And that book is pretty thick, the one that Connor Fields has.
That's a chapter book.
Justin Lee outside, stop, rip, score.
Mark Waters saying this series seems fun. Let me get involved. Just sits behind the pick there. Moran Weeks doing the work, gets 2 guys to come to him momentarily. Waters hits the sky whammy, gets his stick way up there. Another guy who's 6 foot plus, probably 200 pounds plus or close to it on the offensive door. A 21-year-old plays his college lacrosse at St. Joe's for Coach Taylor Ray there, among a bunch of really good Canadians at that school. So a big goal for him. One that maybe Medill wants back, maybe just a little bit, but how often do those come on off after all those repeat possessions, right, Matty? It's not. Yep. It's kind of in the unseen sometimes. 8-6 here. Boy, it feels like Mimico's really pushing, but these goals by Brampton just helped keep the gap. Still a 2-goal differential here for the Mountaineers.
Well, if you look at it the other way, every time the Excelsiors score, because they're doing it in flashier ways, maybe we're closer to their fans. It seems a bit louder in here. They seem bigger.
Yep.
To me, it's only a 2-goal gap, as Mimico's been able to keep it there. From the outside now, Tavares shoots wide. Dudemain will pick up halfway through Mimico's possession. As Dudemain comes up for Roussel, steps in. Rebound picked up, already scored once like that tonight.
Oh.
Full splits Medill. Did he save it? And a second one might have been better. Marcus Medill, my goodness.
We're going to have to get that one on a replay. Hard to tell from our angle. It seemed pretty lights out, though. Repeat possessions again here.
This one bouncing away from Mimico to come back to top spot. Tavares just kept it alive from the over and back. Through Thompson to Roussel. You've been feeling it of late. Took a couple shots, but not this time as they work it through Owen Hobbs. And down in the corner, stepping up, shooting. Dudemain. Another one comes from Roussel. That one just hit Medill. And now finally, Brampton still hasn't got it. Thompson tripped up.
Oh, bad luck for Finn there. He would have been better off not picking that up. Resets the shot clock. Just a bad luck on the slip, but another 1.5-minute possession there for Mimico.
Down to 7 remaining here in the second period. That's why I feel anyways, that they have so many come from behind tight wins.
Yep.
This Mimico team just wear you down all game. And we'll see if that plays its part in the third. Here's Vivieros again. Power's going to stand his ground as Vivieros gets filled in after the fact.
Got to be careful there if you're Mimico. You don't want anything after the play. You're pushing in the right direction here.
Had a couple water breaks and a few goals, which would have given head coach Dean George a chance to get Whittam back in there, but it looks like it's Power's period, at least for now. This is Lee. Miscalled him at Waters before, but Lee from up top, right into the defender. Rondon recovers to get back into Lee's face again and forces an errant pass as he was looking back for Thompson. We need a wipe down in the corner of the crease of Medill, which gives us a chance to admire his beautiful handiwork.
So that one doesn't get all the way through for Roussel. Looks like that one doesn't either, but this is the...
I think that one
I mean, it's hard to tell
may have gone wide. That's
and then
a
that's
save
the
for sure.
okay. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Da 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 da.
Knew it was clipped for a reason. There,
Yeah.
there we go. Got bad news for everybody in the chat. Not a lot of them tonight who aren't fans of Jonathan Donville, but if you're not, he's calling the game tomorrow.
Yes.
At the ILA, and I know he's excited to do it. It'll be game number 2 between Six Nations and Peterborough. Arrows going back to home floor with a 1-0 advantage in that series. After they just snuck in with a win here against Mimico, forcing a 3-way tie that knocked Whitby out of contention.
What a check there by Vincent to put this thing on the ground.
Him and Roussel just have found that next playoff gear, although that outlet pass intending to send Ben McIsaac went just a little bit errant.
Yeah, that's a great shift, though, for Vincent. Bad luck at the end. But just puts the ball on the ground, and him and Taguri are a lot to deal with when they can get dictating on the ball.
Here's Byrne, a little bit of a high step there. Scott was tied up with Taguri. As the shot came in, Power gobbles it up and goes down the boards to Begley.
Good save by Power there. He's settled in here pretty well.
Still hasn't been overly busy here.
No.
Coming on in relief. 1 goal so far. Here's Isaiah Moran Weeks. Lee finds him again, and then Moran Weeks cut through the crease. After a pretty good shot attempt, didn't believe it. He was looking up from down on the floor.
Yeah, Lee's open there.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay then. Nicholas Volkov right into Tyler Clark. I thought for sure penalty call was coming.
I think we heard the
crack of gear, right?
I think we heard his stick getting up to protect himself, so his stick, not helmet.
Well,
but refs have fallen for that for many years, and when I say I think, I'm only 50% sure it wasn't just his face mask.
Volkov definitely had an intent for the hit as Thompson shoots this one off Medill and up and out of play. Another reset for Mimico right away. Moran Weeks knocked down to his knees. Still no penalty coming in and out of the stake of Dudemain. He'll retreat to the corner to pick up. Moran Weeks says, follow me. Ball goes to the far side instead. Roussel, Dudemain, low shot off the end boards. Nice pick up, Roussel. Although only 10 now for Mimico to shoot. Roussel over the top. Dudemain stops up, takes the shot. Medill the save, and another fresh 30. Roussel comes all the way in, close to the top of the fan, doesn't shoot. Over the top goes Finn Thompson. Finds Moran Weeks on the crease, cuts back. Rebound rolls past everybody, and they're going to call that one over and back off the initial errant shot.
Yeah, good look by Finn there at the end, just floating it into Moran Weeks, who kind of sealed off his guy. Not the biggest player. Moran Weeks manages to get his stick free. Thompson's going to hit it most times. Another, 4 shots in that possession here. Medill's been the story of this period.
Ball over to the far boards. Byrne will catch it. Low cradle. Turns and shoots. That one knocked wide. May have caught a piece of Taguri. Acton gets it back. Long way from home and under 10 to shoot. Acton does take it off the end boards. That splits Owen Power and referee Mark Thompson on its way bounding down the floor for another over and back violation.
Now, Nolan Byrne plays the game the way you'd hope to teach kids to play the game. Just tough, relentless. You know, it hasn't been his best game numbers-wise, but it feels like every time he gets it, he's just trying to take his defender, trying to do what he can, not afraid of contact. You know, it's no wonder why he was such a high scorer this year in the OJLL standings.
Well, especially when you factor in the fact that Chris De Silva plays the same way. Ty Scott played the same way. That's just a nasty left side. Phoenix pulled in, speaking of nasty, couple step moves to get past Kerrigan. Got a good shot away on Power, who made the stop.
That was I think a D guy coming up there. Pretty sick move, though.
Scott over the top. That shot wide of everything. Bounces past a couple players before now falling down into the stick. Well, Vivieros overran it. He'll leave for Byrne. Byrne one-on-one with Billing. Takes the shot and scores. Gets the better of the 22 battle does Nolan Byrne just after you said he was pretty quiet here tonight.
Yeah, this is a good example of why I like watching him play, though. Just relentlessly getting leverage and getting top side, too. And then the shot at the end of this thing is going to be pretty elite here. He's just a lot to deal with. On the run, getting past the center plane, ropes that thing back to where the ground meets the cross or the post there. That's a great shot, a tough one for Power to get to, especially, you don't think a guy, a lefty, going away from you like that is going to be able to get it all the way back to the bottom right corner. And still a 3-goal lead here for the Excelsiors.
And up to 9. Mimico have pulled off some big offensive games against some teams that they probably should have done that with, but when it comes to bigger teams, you get a game like this that's pretty tight back and forth and low scoring. So thinking they may need to come up with a big third period coming up.
Well, you got to deal with this one first, right? They didn't finish the first period very well. These are money possessions here. If you get 1 or 2 back, then you're right in a great spot. I mean, what are you going to do? You keep hitting pipes, you keep having 4-shot possessions. That's all you can do. The shots are going to go in.
Moran Weeks, this is all on a reset as it hit off the post and bounded down the floor. Still only 8 to cross over center for Roussel and Moran Weeks, and now he can't go back over once he did. Phoenix Pullen strips him and comes running in alone. Pullen shot just wide.
Happy Meal contender there for sure. Pullen's been working here the last couple minutes. That ISO move a few minutes ago was him, and then a good look there as well, just taking the cookies from Roussel.
Here's Scott to Acton, who wheels over the top. On the run, the shot. Shoulder save made by Power. Coming into the final minute, Dean George has both his timeouts. Brampton took 1 in that first period.
What a play by Byrne.
Yeah, Byrne shed Moran Weeks, and now comes back across with the ball.
Brampton's got to see clock here. If they want to go 2 for 1, they got to go soon.
Already under 44 seconds. To the outside, Vivieros does take the bouncer. Stops the clock, 38.6. I know a little later for your liking, but almost right on the money.
Yeah, that still works. I don't even think not going for 2 for 1 would have been the worst idea there, just given how much defense they've played here. It's never a bad thing to have the ball.
Here's Finn Thompson's sidearm shot. That hits Adamson and goes to the far side.
Good eat.
You know the rest.
Don't roll it.
Here comes Blondin, running it across center. 10 left. Pat O'Toole does not take the timeout.
Doesn't pull the goalie either.
High step there from Adamson. Bounces right back to Byrne. From the outside, he's got Aiden McDonnell in his face, and then coming over as well was Taguri. They've been at each other all night long, and Adamson jumps in light. Good conversation, but that's a good clock awareness, I think, from Taguri to come in and make sure there was no shot.
Sound me out for Byrne and Taguri all night long. 2 guys who play the game the right way. I have a feeling they'll be seeing a lot of each other over the next couple of games. Good finish to the period there for Aaron Taguri, not allowing Byrne to get the shot up. Byrne doesn't like it. Don't blame him. That's what playoff lacrosse is all about.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the third period. It's Brampton leading 9-6 in game number 1 here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League. Playoffs fueled by Gatorade.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Get ready, Ottawa. Box lacrosse is returning to its Canadian roots and giving the nation's capital the team they deserve.
What's up, OJLL fans? Recently on the Back of the Bird podcast, we have been asking your favorite NLL players and some legends too about their interesting gear that they wore throughout their careers. So old gear, some guys used the same piece of equipment throughout their whole careers, and we've had some good stories with the early days of the NLL too. You can find the Back of the Bird podcast at www.lacrosseculturedaily.com and also follow Lacrosse Culture Daily for box lacrosse coverage all summer long. Let's get into it. Here are some of the most interesting responses we've had about lacrosse equipment.
Was there any and obviously you played for some time too, was there any specific piece of equipment you had forever, or some sort of a weird thing that you would wear, or something you couldn't, get rid of, or anything like that?
I don't know if you guys remember this. You could probably, Paulie might be able to remember it because you might have been playing around when I was still going. You would have been. I had the cage, but what I did was I had the ear flaps because I got the bad ears, right? So believe it or not, guys take your head off and you cut my ears up. But the biggest thing is because of the beak. So I had the mask was always so close, and I didn't want it. I didn't want the Jason Walder way out there, the helmet wheelie. So what I did, I had to have the mask, and the hooder was about this far, guys, from my face. So I went to my grade 9 football guy, and I said, I want one of those chin cups, those real foam, real tough chin cups. And I put my chin strap on. I have a real good snap, and you could punch me in the face, crush it right here, and it wouldn't go into my face. And I wore that till I was done, but I got gummed so bad. But you know what? You grow up with this thing, you hurt back pretty good. So I was.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Was there any piece of gear that you used the whole way through? Any piece of ironically old gear that you had, or you always kind of stayed up to date?
I used one piece of mesh my entire NLL career.
No way.
What?
That's the other one.
You know what's really sad though? I was coaching and I left it at the Ladner covered box and I've lost it.
It's gone?
Oh, it's just gone after all those years. Yeah. So now I have a warp. It's embarrassing.
Oh no!
We can get you a stick.
Because I can leave it wherever and it just throws the same forever.
It's a gear related story. So I used the same set of shoulder pads and kidney pads since I want to say it was 2000. It was 2000. Marty O'Neill just started Max Lax.
Yeah.
And I still have the pads. My son yanked them out because I kept them. I wanted to put them in a case because I worn them for, basically, in my 17 years, I think it was 15 years. They're sewed together multiple times, but I still got the Max Lax gear. And I remember he gave them to me and I was one piece. They had the arm pads were built into it. I ended up cutting the arm pads off. I used those for a couple of years, but the shoulder pads, kidney pads, they're all in one little piece. I would throw my gear on. I could have my jersey on, just be like a goalie and just kind of put my arms through. But yeah, I used them my whole career. And I still think they're solid gear. Not much padding, but they were solid for me anyways. So
That's awesome.
Gear now has changed so much.
Well, the question we've been asking is how old are your kidney pads? So that you answered actually the question. But one other gear related question: what was it like that one year when you guys had to wear the field helmets in the NLL?
Oh, they had the orange right here, right? Those ones. Yeah, they were awful. So we ended up doing a few guys kept them, and you had to wear a 4-pointer. So everybody kind of adjusted the 4-pointer so it wasn't sitting on your chin. And I remember the first few games you had that big plastic piece that went underneath. And anytime you turn your head, you'd hit your shoulder pads and stuff like that. So guys started hacking off the bottom part, but the mask wasn't long enough. So it was just basically under it wasn't even under your chin. So then we're okay, we had these funky kind of plastic pieces in the front. So we're let's take these cages off and then we would jerry rig these
I
other
love
cages
this
back
era of
on
the
there.
league.
And yeah, like most of the time they were like, you know, taped, or like we added new screw holes and, you know, put screws in. So by the end of the year, most of our team, there was a few games, maybe AJ Shannon was the only one that was used to playing field lacrosse, and he still wore it. Everybody else had kind of gassed the mask. A few teams, I think it was like Washington, they mandated that you couldn't change the helmet. I was in Buffalo at the time, and we tore it up. We didn't care what the league said. We were like, no, we were the bad news bandits. We could do what we wanted. So that's what we did.
And the last one is we've had some guys on, they've talked about like Garrett Billings said he used like the same piece of mesh his whole NLL career. Like you've seen the kidney pads I wear, those things are from Pee Wee. Like, is there any kind of like hilarious little piece of gear that you have, or any like certain thing that you do to your gear whenever you get it, or anything like that?
No, I don't really like cut my gloves or anything, or anything like that. I would, so basically when I tape a stick at the beginning of the season, like I'll tape it, you know, pretty high up the shaft.
Don't say you're the one tape a year guy.
Yeah, like I went through five shafts this year. So like, you know, I was, you know, 5 shafts, 18 games. So, you know, you're taping it every third game essentially. But yeah, no, I tape it at the beginning of the year and then I don't touch it.
That's amazing. That makes Donnie want to throw up on the spot.
It does. Actually, my roommate in college, like, I think went 2 years before he taped his stick, and it pissed me off. It should. It's just a stupid thing that I'm.
Yeah, like that whole time I was injured, I didn't play. So I had this stick that was just super yellow and greasy because I was using the stick all the time, but it wasn't getting hit or anything. Right. And so the tape was like basically part of the shaft at that point. So until I bent that, like I went 2 years, I think, like, or no, not 2. It was probably 15 months with that tape on it. And yeah, when I broke
it turns to dust when you take it off. It's like it's basically ripping apart, and you can't get it off. It's leaving half the sticky part on the shaft if you ever do retape it. But that's funny.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow along with Lacrosse Culture Daily all summer long. Let's get back to more OJLL action.
Teams are back on the floor for the third period. Brampton leading 9-6 and have led the entire way here in game number 1 of their quarterfinal matchup between the Mimico Mountaineers. Matthew Carrick alongside Jonathan Donville. The only game on the schedule tonight, although we do remind you that our crew is live from the ILA tomorrow for Arrows and Lakers game number 2. In that series, Six Nations leading 1-0.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun playoff, right? Obviously, the bulk of the attention so far has been on Beaches in Orangeville for obvious reasons to those that have been following the league. But, you know, this is shaping up to be a really good one. And other than Orangeville, the road team's winning, Maddie, and obviously Brampton up a couple goals in this one. Worth mentioning, by the way, Power back in the goal here. So
I was just going to say, Power remains in the net after replacing Whittam in that second period, allowed 2 goals. Of the 6 that Mimico have scored, 6 different players have combined. Here's Dudemain cutting through. Save by Medill. Kyle Waters picks up out of the corner. Waters a wheel over the top. Sounded like fans trying to get into it as Lee takes a low shot. Kicked out by Medill, but nearly picked up by Lee. Thompson will get it. Moran Weeks shoots through, and they were just about to reset the clock. Decided not to, as Dudemain brings it back.
Boy, more offense, though, from Mimico.
Real obvious now that they're about, 10 feet away from us?
Yeah.
Up top, Roussel. He'll work through contact. Made by Medill. Now Dudemain picks up the rebound.
I don't know what Dudemain's loose ball numbers are at tonight, but they got to be significant.
Many.
Yeah.
Many.
A lot.
Brings down this ball as he cut through. Blondin back on Dudemain. And pass off to Mark Waters, who turns and shoots. Another save made by Medill. All of those low. Ty Carty finally comes down with a loose ball. And it's back the other way as he went towards Tyler Clark.
Yeah,
it's a double clutch a little bit.
It's a 2-for-1 on these two, right? Because then now your defense is so much fresher. If you're Mimico, you can get out and press the ball, run in transition, right? The offense, the resets really have a team-wide effect.
Meanwhile, of the 9 goals, 7 different goal scorers for the Excelsiors. Jacob Janke, Eric Acton. Those with 2. If you're following along on the official OJLL app available on your favorite app store, you'll notice that Viviero's credited with 1 that we believe should have gone to Acton.
Poland got away with a late one there.
Here's Trent Robertson back the other way. He gets hit after shooting, and Power picked up, and we'll get a wipe down.
Yeah, I mean, Poland gets away, I think, with a bit of a late hit down here on the Mimico player. Then Tavares cracks Robertson at the end of that, so they're letting them play. Pretty similar plays there.
Well, we've said it before. Breaks don't only let the teams get a chance to talk some things over as they go to the rooms. The officials get to talk it through as well. So wondering if they hadn't said, good game, let's try and stay out of the way here.
Hey, it's the third period of an Ontario playoff game, Matty. To think that the whistles are going to be a little bit tighter is would match historical precedent. We'll leave it at that. But this game has been fairly tame. Compared to some of the other ones, certainly compared to some of the other ones we've seen between these two teams here.
I thought you were going to go.
No, a lot of
the
good
ones we've seen around the league this year.
Well, that's true, but a lot of good friends from our Mimico teams and those Brampton teams. Now, a lot of mutual respect now, but those are some passionate times, to say the least.
I love every time you guys have someone who's been on both sides. Look at the ball movement here from Mimico to put it in the back of the net.
So this is a set piece that Gene George has been running for a long time. We used to run it for Thomas McConvey. He's really good at it. So keep an eye on Isaiah Moran Weeks here setting the pick. As soon as Waters gets by him, he's cutting hard. It's going down to Thompson, over to Moran Weeks, and just a good spot feed by Thompson there. Well drawn up, Matty. We had the wipe on the last possession, right? Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. Time for the coaches to draw something up. That's a Dean George special right there. Good call by him, scheming up a goal.
And Medill goes for a drink of water as he get a wipe down by the double blue crew down in his crease, right in front of us. Point I wanted to make, obviously we got the back of the bird clip played during the intermission. It's interesting to when you get either guys that you played with from Mimico or played on the Brampton side, both of the thoughts from either side of that rivalry talking about that series back in 2017.
Sure, and then in 18, we caught the break. Jeff Teat was in Israel with Team Canada. We played them in the first round.
Right.
And I believe if we got by them, we had a chance to win it, and they were just better than us that year. Clark Peterson was outstanding. Orleman came in that year and was really good, Stephen Orleman. And, I remember Dan Teat coached the first game, and then
outside Hobbs. Don't let Mimico get on a run, especially in this building. It may be happening here early in the third.
Yeah, I'll save my reminiscing for another time because our fans don't care about that. But just a good set here. We've seen Tavares playing a lot of offense here, and then as well with Hobbs playing both ways. That's huge for Mimico to have two basically defensive swing guys combining on a goal. And again, Matty, I don't mean to kind of harp on it too much, but, Medill's made a lot of good saves here. Possessions like that are ones where you kind of think about, how much defense they've played, right? You're just sitting back a little bit, and Hobbs finds a way to get one in, and Tavares is going up the floor again here.
In transition, Blondin coming off heavy off that bench.
One righty here for Thompson. A lot of room. Got to go to work. Good save by Medill.
Bounce back to Medill. You're right. It is going to cross center, but again, no over and back. Callum Witter, first one after that loose ball. He'll come off the wall, take a shot, got filled in afterwards, and then sat on. And Mike Melvin's caught him.
Not the best timing here, obviously, for Mimico, just when they felt like they were really putting a run together. Sending Brampton back to the power play. That was a heck of a shift from Witter. Has Finn Thompson, one of the best players in Canada, on a 1-4 isolation play. Gets the save from Medill, gets up, gets the ball, and then, not that this ever feels good, but when it's on concrete, that doesn't feel great.
Brampton back the other way. Ty Scott.
Yeah, nice finish here by Scott. Mimico playing that diamond look again. And Brampton finally hits one of those cross creases. Yeah, Taguri's in the lane there, but just Acton does a good job using his eyes to look off his defender, which is Taguri inside, and hit the backside man. Ty Scott plays his college ball at Denver. Not always easy for the Denver guys playing Junior A because they're on a unique academic schedule, so they come back later in the year. But, he's been pretty solid here. Unfortunately, didn't get much of a run with the Excelsiors before the trade deadline, but has obviously been important for them since.
Here's Janke trying to get another one, and Mimico got within one. Now the lead back up to 2, but Hobbs coming in again, takes it off Medill. Had to fight through a high stick that's got called by the official.
Yeah, penalty coming too.
So Aiden McDonnell will slow it down with Hobbs, and now Power comes to the bench.
Boy, Hobbs making his impact felt in this game too. They had the last goal, another good one. Him and Tavares are just flying every time.
Waiting for the last man to change here. Thompson has it up top. Little cheeky flip to Dudemain. Back to the captain, to the back of the net.
Matty, I'm not sure people realize how difficult this is. This is back-to-back, 6-foot passes, a little bit of a lever pass, and then an even shorter look there from Dudemain. Just puts it right on the money to Thompson, who buries it. Mimico's goals for the vast majority are coming right on top of the net, Matty, right in front. That's where goals come from in the playoffs. They're doing a good job getting to the dirty areas. Get this thing back to 1 goal. It feels like Brampton hasn't played very much offense at all here.
No.
In the last 15 minutes of game time.
Still winning faceoffs though. Belmonte takes another one. And now Byrne. Every time tonight that Mimico's been able to put one through, there's been an answer. Not on this shot from Nolan Marshall. It did. Fell Owen Power though, and the rebound goes back the way of the Excelsiors.
Yeah, it's that same release there from Marshall. Getting it up high, sky whammy, yanking it down to the ground.
Janke to Scott, who made his return to the Excelsiors early on this season. Had been out since midget. Actually, rights belong to Mississauga. That's what Pat O'Toole told me before. And then a couple of season-long injuries before he was able to get back in the lineup and made his presence felt. Shoring up that left side of the offense. Dudemain looking to pass through the middle. Isaiah Moran-Weeks corrals it. It was intended for Thompson. Dudemain has it again. Low shot off the post. He was celebrating, was Dudemain. Moran-Weeks, that is a nice pickup as he fought through a couple sticks. Now up top, Thompson behind his back. Dudemain got cleared out on the crease. Another penalty coming. Waters up top, they score. It's Justin Lee.
two themes here, Maddie, for Mimico. The repeat possessions again. Dudemain shoots it. Moran Weeks earns the extra possession. And then look how condensed everything is. Every single player on the Brampton Excelsiors is inside of the dots here. Lee catches it. I mean, that's a goal scorer's dream, right? You're catching it on the dots. Nobody in front of you, just ropes it to the top corner. Mimico finally, feels like they've been chasing this game all game long. They finally get it back to even here. You don't want to take your foot off the gas, though. You got to keep earning those resets. It's the little things that impact the game.
By the way, Mimico still, as Power puts this one into the rafters. I was going to say still no one has scored 2 goals, but Isaiah Moran Weeks got his second on that nifty little play earlier. Otherwise, 9 Mountaineers have scored to make it 10-10. From the outside, Byrne tried to cut back, held at bay. This one pushed into the corner. Not far enough for Quinn Little, who picks it up and turns and fires. Don't know that it ever got to Power. Shot clock didn't reset. And Angus McDonnell will corral it and give to Tavares.
Yeah, it seems like we got live boards here in Mimico, too. How many of these missed shots have we seen seem to jump right in front of the net to goal-scoring area? Keep an eye on a set play here. They're waving off the D guys, so look for something set coming out from Mimico.
Here's Justin Lee up for
pick.
Dudemain through the middle. Thompson caught Medill going to his right, but the arm came back left to make the save. Dudemain over the top. Waters rips Medill with the save. It bounces right into the stick of Ben Baker, who got sandwiched, and a back in against Ty Carty.
I wish we had a better angle of that Medill save because he absolutely fought it off against Thompson. More offense here for Mimico.
Dudemain, Thompson all by himself in the crease as he came through. And Medill wants that oil slick taken care of again.
Yeah, 2 good looks for Finner there. He feels like after that goal, starting to find his groove just a little bit. But Medill, man, he's been excellent in this game.
Byrne held against the far boards by Nick Volkov. Ball bounced out of his stick. Came back right to Kyle Kerrigan, though, as he slammed on the brakes.
Smart play by Kerrigan.
Yeah, it looks like the red light is on for Dean George here when it comes to transition. When the offense is flowing, why not?
You know, interestingly, we're seeing some more guys playing offense from Mimico, like I've been saying. You know, sometimes your O guys get gassed too, right? You only have 8 O guys, 7 O guys sometimes. So I think that's why we're seeing Tavares and Hobbs playing more offense. And another turnover by Brampton here. They're hanging on here. Got to try to find a way to get up and out and play more offense if you're the Excelsiors.
That was an 8-second count. Pulling the last man there trying to pass it up and across that timeline. Breakout had to deal with the official there at one point as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Matty, the guys on the floor look gassed now. This is playoff lacrosse. It's hot in here, right? You played a long season.
Thompson looks it, though, to the cutter. And picked up Roussel with the loose ball. Dudemain turns and fires again. That one a low one on Medill. Witter, I think, dropped his shoulder as the hit was coming. That one could have been dangerous. Tavares scores! That's Finn Thompson, and who else would it be?
And some energy in this building as the goal song plays. I mentioned it just a minute ago. Finn's starting to find it here. It's been all around the goal. Maddie, I don't want to be a broken record here, but to be honest, I can't recall a game that was this close where the possession battle has been this exaggerated here throughout the second half of the game. Mimico's had the ball this entire period, it feels like, and they're just doing it the old-fashioned way, just winning races to loose balls. If you're Medill, you got to be frustrated, doing everything you can here, but Mimico finally takes the lead.
From Finn Thompson, calling it his third of the game. 11-10, first lead for Mimico. They've been trailing the entire way. Justin Lee's lost his chin strap, has to head off. Baker picks up the ball, and he's headed back down in towards the corner.
You got to get a good possession here if you're Brampton. At least just let your guys touch the ball. Let your guys on defense get a breather. Sorry.
Byrne going to slow it up. Over the top here for Janke. 5 on the clock as Acton goes over the top. His shot towards the feet of Owen Power, who makes the stop.
Good save by Power.
Power came on in relief, has only allowed 3 goals in about a period of work now as we near the halfway mark of this third period.
Look at Lee just standing in front of the net, right? These guys are so big.
Moran Weeks stumbling. Ends up in the crease. Medill wants a wipe down again, and this time he's going to get it. Gives us a chance to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All our playoff games will be right here. Give it a like, and the algorithm will feed you more games as we go along. We are scheduled for tomorrow at the ILA. It is game number 2 between the Arrows and Peterborough Lakers, a 7 p.m. start. And then after that, basically we're going to see what the series dictate, where we're going to go from there.
Yeah.
So be sure you're following at the OJLL on social media as well.
Looking at Medill with his hands on his knees right now. That guy's seen a lot of rubber. We don't have shots on the board here, but got to imagine it's getting up there. Good shot by our camera guy.
They were 47-45 in favor of Brampton at the period break.
Consider me skeptical of that number.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
All right. I mean, I'm skeptical of most of the numbers I see on Game Sheet. Yeah. I'm just going to throw that out there, but just reporting what I see here, folks.
If this is our last game, Maddie, it's been fun.
At least you got your Sammy in. Up top, Ty Scott, no room for him or Byrne to shoot. So they'll keep working her out. On the run, Acton, sidearm shot. Power made the save, rebound bounced right to Janke, though. He couldn't pick up cleanly, and fighting for it in there on the half wall was
gotta throw it here, gotta throw it.
Vincent, who got it, and that started the clock. Aiden McDonnell was unawares. I think he may have been more arguing that he got it across to Finn Thompson, but either way, it'll be Ty Scott again.
Yeah, those ones are tough. Such a bang-bang play.
Here's Byrne. Winds and fires. Right shrug of the shoulders. Sends it away from Power. And now Vincent will get it back.
Good save by Power. That thing was going right at his head. Sometimes that's tough for goalies. Handcuffs them just a little bit.
Excelsiors, we talked about Chris De Silva not in the lineup. There's a bunch of guys who are on crutches, look down as they play. I think Byrne's the only guy who doesn't have something taped up or some kind of brace he's wearing on that leg. Meanwhile, cut back to the net. That was Thompson. Rebound found his body as he cut back through the crease.
Thompson feels like he's getting a look every time now down the floor, doesn't he, Matty? Just doing what great players do. So when they start to feel it, it's going to get scary.
Just about to say, as we watch this shot from Quinn Little from the outside, this game very reminiscent of those battles that you guys had with Brampton, and when you started to get hot, when Tanner started to get hot, ball seemed to find both your sticks.
Yeah, Tanner really won us a lot of those games. The deciding game in 17, Tanner Thompson, who's coaching now, that's a mental mistake there for the Excelsiors. I'm going to get another wipe.
You can see the big slick on your screen right there as it crosses the blue line.
Matty, Trent Robertson for Brampton, number 12, is using a hilariously bad stick right now. If he gets a look, I hope he shoots it as hard as he can, because
I see it now.
That thing is a crowbar. Good look at the wipers here on the floor.
They call them the Double Blue Crew.
The Double Blue Crew.
Members of the Mimico Minor Association who can put their name in a draw to be picked to come out and wipe the floor here in Mimico, as far as I understand it.
They're having a ball doing it.
Yeah. They get seats right off the side of the bench. They get to watch the game and
Best game there is.
Yeah, from great seats. And a salute from the fans on the way off the floor as well. Saw the Orangeville Minor Lacrosse Association do the same thing last night. And they're the future of the OJLL, so why not? Here's Waters. With a top through Lee. Thompson finds Dudemain cutting through the middle. He has to split a pair of defenders. Wasn't sure where the ball went as it bounced to the outside. Shot clock down to 10 as Thompson turns and shoots. Moran Weeks, another rebound on the crease, loses his footing. Gets back up though and secures the possession. Moran Weeks. As we see another shot here, every time there's a ball right next to the crease, it seems that Isaiah Moran Weeks is right there. Here's Phoenix pulling. Coming in all by himself, though. He is getting absolutely mauled by Mimico defenders. And finally, they pop the ball free back in their own end.
Yeah, Brampton bench yelling earlier there. I thought that was a good no call. You know, they're not going to be happy with the cross check after that either, but I thought Mimico's guys got there.
All the way up top, Waters. Backing away from top spot, Alex Roussel. That one hit the bottom dasher and is going to bounce backing up and across center. Now at the end of pretty much every possession, you see at least one guy down on his backside as the physicality starts to pick up in this one-goal game.
Yeah, a lot of talking back and forth as well. I don't think they're asking each other how their summer breaks have been. Never know.
We're allowed breaks in the summer? Here's Byrne. He'll wheel over the top. Off center. It still goes behind the back. Tried them through the legs earlier. Writing another chapter to his book. Up top, here's Little. Looks off Janke. Goes to Eric Acton, already with a hat trick in this game. Off power. He'll jump in the loose ball.
It is a good point, Matty. When you go back to school in the States, you know, you're asking your buddies, "What'd you do?" "Oh, I went to the lake this summer." You know,
yes.
I went to Europe. It's like, what the Canadian guys do? "Oh, I played 30 of the most vicious lacrosse games you could imagine in intense heat all summer." It's the best.
Dudemain in the middle, all alone was Thompson. Couple fakes before sending it off Medill. Justin Tavares cuts back through one, past the second, bouncer just under the bar.
Yeah, you can see the energy now for Mimico, home section getting going. Another repeat possession here. Thompson gets wide open, nice save by Medill, and then Tavares just doing a little bit of everything in this game. You know, you call that sort of an S dodge sometimes in field lacrosse. You get underneath and then come back up field. That's what Tavares does. He gets underneath his guy, kind of cuts him off, gets his angle back, and then gets Medill thinking he's going high, spikes it right between his legs. That's a nice goal for 11 in blue.
Got in trouble last night, leaving Tony Rose because someone said we play box. I don't want to hear any more about field, but...
Sorry. If the criticism of me is that I'm not talking enough about box lacrosse, then I don't know what people want.
I know who the viewer was, and if you're watching tonight, there's your answer. Possession skipping away from a bunch of Brampton players out into the corner. They're going to run out of shot clock time as we hack around here with 5.5 to go in the third period. 2-goal lead for Mimico.
Yeah, you're really starting to notice the fresh legs on the back for the Mimico defense too, right? That's what all those offensive resets do, is they can really pressure the ball and make life difficult here for Brampton, who's A, out of a flow offensively, and then B, dealing with this fresh defense.
Thompson looking for Dudemain up top. Neil Adamson couldn't get between Dudemain and the boards. Picked up by number 24. He'll flip it back to Waters now. Kyle Waters, a double clutch to Thompson. Shovel shot. Might have caught Medill by surprise, but if it did, didn't make.
Nice pass.
Any move. Here's Ty Carty now. You're right, that was a nice pass. Looks like he's on the limp, Carty, as he goes to the bench. Ty Scott through Nolan Byrne, Janke. Now Marshall to Acton. All 5 have touched it. Works its way back to Scott. Scott to Janke up top. He got dropped Shot clock sounds, and Janke's slow to get up. Now Byrne falls down after he picked up the ball again. Mimico will get it back and reset the clock. I was wondering how late Brampton were in their 8 count, as this would be transition. Witter lowers the shoulder on Aaron Taguri, who took an extra chop while he was on the ground.
We'll have the double blue crew coming back out here. Scott is livid with the referee. He's got to be careful he doesn't get one here. I don't know if I blame him there. That's, you know, probably a tough no call on that end for the Excelsiors, but 4:19 left, 2-goal game. We'll see what Brampton has dialed up here. Obviously, some decisions forthcoming here regarding taking the goalie out. You know, not quite at that time yet, but you got to start thinking about it. And, you know, we'll see Coach O'Toole's preference, because some guys certainly like to do it earlier than others. If you know you're going to need the goals, sometimes it's better to know where you're at earlier than later.
If you're interested in the rest of the schedule for tomorrow, back here
We got
tomorrow
a
night
shoving match here, Matty.
That's 7, yeah. On the left side of the screen, just off camera. Got a couple players into it. Officials step in early. They're all 7 p.m. starts, by the way. Pardon me, that's in Brampton, the game tomorrow. Game 2 of this one. Ted Reeve will host game 2, Beaches and Northman, and then Athletics and Blaze at Central Arena in Burlington.
Good save there by Power. And obviously not a ton of shots, Matty, since he's been in here, but he's done the job that's been asked of him.
Came in at 7 goals. That's 7-5, if I'm not mistaken. 7-2 since then. Here's Dudemain. Up top, Lee. No shot. Pulls it down. Now takes one. Off the end boards, and shot clock violation or over and back. One of those is what's going to take it away from Mimico.
Referee almost took that one right in the back there. Got to keep your head on a swivel like with these live boards, like I mentioned.
Seen that a couple times this season. Here's Nolan Marshall.
At least one of these panes of glass has been replaced since that Justin Scott OT winner. At least one of the panes didn't make it out of that night.
Here's Vincent. Tried a couple times, but then eventually did push him over and back. Callum Witter to Ty Scott. Closing in on 3 minutes left to go. Both teams with timeouts in the bag.
Might be the last 5-on-5 possession here. Medill will definitely want to keep his eye on the bench unless there's a goal.
Acting to Scott over his shoulder, trying to feed Byrne as he was cutting through. Pass picked off, and it's a 2-on-1 back the other way. Angus McDonnell!
Matty learned a life lesson in these as he was running up the floor here, to sometimes keep my mouth shut, because I was thinking in my head, you know, maybe you don't want to shoot this one. Maybe the 30 is more valuable. These are such tough decisions to make. What you love is that McDonnell does it decisively. He says, no, I'm going for it. We're gonna score this thing. I'm gonna stuff it in the net. And now 3-goal lead. Obviously, a lot left to play, Matty, but you know, a really tough one there for Brampton. And a good play by McDonnell. I might have pulled it out if it was me, to be honest. But, you know, just a great play going and seizing the moment there for Mimico.
That is 13 goals from 11 different goal scorers tonight for the Mountaineers. You only get 18 runners.
Now the 30s are more valuable. You want to get at least 25 seconds off each clock. And guaranteed Medill's coming out this time.
Thompson, Dudemain, Tavares is the one who shoots. Rebound picked up Lee. And Tavares got dropped at the top of this set. I don't know that we're going to have it, but it is going to be a penalty here going to Trent Robertson.
Well, we talked about this last night, Matty. It won't be the first time we see some animosity at the end of a game 1 in the playoffs.
Oh.
We'll see. Yeah, we're going to have a 5, Matty, on this one. going to see Tavares at the top of your screen
it's
here.
It's going to be the follow through after the shot right here coming up for Robertson. Bang.
Yep, that'll do it. Oh no, we got a fan. We got Robertson getting into it with a fan here. I think that's actually an inactive Mimico player, but
scratch, yeah.
Yeah. Can't say that's the first time I've seen that, Matty. I don't like it, but it's
no.
And I also can't say it was two different teams the last time I saw it in this building. So,
well,
glad that got sorted out quickly there.
Yeah, Brampton Mimico just has a different feel to it.
Yep.
There's a few other scratches I see for Brampton headed that way though. So I think the game's on up in the Lax Lounge. We may need some extra hands down here. But we hope cooler heads prevail. And I was actually looking for...
Well, we got eyes on the referees, you know, keeping an eye on things here. So I think we'll get this thing sorted out here.
I was looking for either Tanner Thompson or Riley Hutchcraft to ask them, you know, does the bad blood still exist between these two teams?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about 6, 7 years ago. The 97s are gone. Does this series still mean the same amount? I think we might have our answer.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you know, rivalries, you know, come and go. Obviously, geographically, these guys know each other. Some of them probably went to school together and played travel teams, Team Ontario, things like that. I think lacrosse in general is more connected than it used to be because of Team Ontario and other things like that. So these guys will know each other, but there's nothing like a playoff series to make rivals out of just about anybody.
Finn Thompson directing traffic from up top. He gave everybody the hold it up signal as well. Takes a two-hander right on the arm from Callum Witter, and there's going to be another penalty coming up here. Thompson will wait. Power wasn't leaving the bench, but now he does. Dudemain through the middle. Lead low shot will be handled here, and Thompson is feeling it after the chop from up top.
Another wipe here, minute 37. Wouldn't be surprised if the defensive personnel come out soon from Mimico. Last thing you want is to lose one of your offensive players here.
Oh. Right above the glove.
As I've learned, Matty, hands can be fickle. don't want to take a shot you don't need to at the end of the period.
Okay, at least I didn't bring it up tonight, okay?
Yeah.
I was unprovoked. Double Blue crew back in action again, and we remind you our next game tomorrow. Big one for my partner.
Yeah, my first time on play-by-play tomorrow. You know, I can recommend some songs to listen to if you hate my voice. You know, maybe it's an alternative soundtrack there. But yeah, looking forward to it, and it's really been great, Matty, to be at all these games.
Someone's been
getting tossed here.
Yeah. I think it's Pat O'Toole. We're getting company, Donnie.
Not much, yeah.
No extra microphone. As it's 13-10, 1:37 to go. And not a lot of turnaround time either, as these two teams will go back at it tomorrow in Brampton, a 7 p.m. start time there. Only way to see that one is to be there in person.
The old school way.
We remind you to do that. By the way, whether we're live or not, that's the best way to watch Ontario Junior Lacrosse League action if you can get there. Just something different about the feel when we walked in this place, knowing it was playoff time. Coming here tonight. Waters' initial shot went wide. Lee will get a second one in on Medill. And the rebound picked up by Justin Tavares. He takes a peek at the clock, and we're into the final minute of what looks like is going to be A Mimico 1-0 lead here in the best of 5 series. Dudemain and Adamson go at it, now jumping in. Aiden McDonnell, extra help coming from Ty Cardy, who was already fired up with the official on that stoppage. And now the officials have to be wary.
If I get the magic wand for a day, Maddie, I'm allowing the officials to just run off time in these scenarios. Nothing good is left to happen in the game. 50 seconds. Mimico's on a however many players are allowed to put on the floor on 3 power play, and
well, it's only allowed to be a 5-on-3 before a penalty shot, which that rule came into play when Brampton played Orangeville in that game the other night. That got moved to another pad, and I think we are indeed going to get a penalty shot here.
I'm not sure if the incidentals, the Mimico guys coming in to protect Dudemain there, is going to offset it.
There's the signal.
We are going to get it.
I think they're asking if anybody can take it or if it has to be someone from the floor. And it looks like Finn Thompson's going to come out and do the honors.
The only worry here if you're Brampton is just letting Finn see one more go through in the net is just never a good sign, right? For a star player, you'll take every clean rep you can get.
So again, these two teams tomorrow in Brampton, 7 p.m. Burlington and St. Catharines flips to the oven at 7. Beaches hosting the Northman game 2 of that series at 7 p.m. And then at the ILA, Peterborough Lakers and Six Nations Arrows, 7 p.m.
Good song change here.
Are you going poutine or chicken wrap tomorrow? What's the play?
I think chicken wrap.
After the P meal today, you're going chicken wrap?
To be honest, I've only ever had one chicken wrap in my life.
What are you doing?
From the ILA, they were outstanding as well.
Here is Finn Thompson on the penalty shot, which is basically going to be meaningless. It rings it off the pipe anyways, but Mimico already up 13-10.
He's going with the Evgeny Kuznetsov there, trying to wait out the goaltender.
I was wondering if he didn't even look like he was interested in taking that penalty shot, to be quite honest with you.
Medill's going to be out of the goal here, so Brampton trying to score right away. Seems like there's only 3 Mimico players out there, so Brampton's got a 4-on-3 power play.
I was wondering if Gavin Clark's not going to come into this game just to keep anything from silly from happening. And yes, indeed, that's going to be the play for the graduating netminder.
Maybe save the legs on a run to the bench, too, for the advantage. But
sure. Meanwhile, officials are still trying to work out what's going to happen here. Connor Blondin and Owen Cheviello back to the blue line for this face-off that'll be taken by Belmonte against Vincent. Yellow gloves from Begley, and I can't quite see who the other Mimico player is for this 3-on-3.
That's Volkov at the back here,
okay.
I think. Volkov and Begley.
I mean,
the lack of players on the floor does scare you a little bit if you're Mimico. Like if you win the face-off, which Belmont has been doing all night, a 4-on-3 power play is a good look. You want to probably get 20 more seconds off this thing if you're Mimico before you really call it in. But yeah. And just outstanding timing playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. just to cut the ice. I don't think we're going to have a slap shot dance around the ice moment, but you never know.
See everything once if you come to enough OJLL games.
You will.
There's
been a little bit of a vibe change now.
I was going to say there's been some interesting choices coming out of the DJ booth tonight.
That one feels like we are looking to to a rumble here a little bit, but I can tell you from winter lacrosse, you don't really hear the music, and hopefully the boys are blocking it out now.
Well, I've always wondered about that because it's so constant, right? Connor Blondin controlling this face-off down into Mimico territory. Scott and Janke do take to the floor and pass between themselves, wondering if this is going to be Byrne or Acton, and it will be the latter of those. Coming in for the final 30 seconds, and Janke gets taken down, and the arms of the officials go high. Yet again, as Mimico back to the box.
I mean, are we going to have another penalty shot now, Matty?
I think that would be the rule. If I understand it correctly, are we going to see this on the left side of the screen just at the last second? Yep.
Seeing the D guys come over the boards here for Brampton, so just don't want any more shots against their O guys.
And they're going to clear away from the face-off dot. So I think we are getting a penalty shot again. Is Gavin Clark going to take it? He's the one with the ball.
I mean, man, if you get a penalty shot, like 25 seconds, good face-off guy, 2 goals, like, look out, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're Mimico, you just let the clock run out here and take the win.
Yeah, and Brampton still has a timeout in the bag.
Sure. You know, I love the expression, we've seen crazier. This would be up there, but you never know.
This has felt like a classic Mimico game, however. Down most of the game, as you said, just repeat possession, repeat possession, repeat possession. And then eventually, when your offense has fresher legs than their defense, if you're a fan of the Mountaineers, come in with a good come-from-behind push in the third.
Yeah, I think the size up front is really unique, too, for Mimico. I think that's one thing that really differentiates them. And, you know, if they can get by Brampton, as you look at some of the other teams in the league, you know, that's going to be something that gives a lot of teams trouble. It's just so many 21-year-old, 6-foot-plus players on offense, and I think you see it really wear down teams. That's what happened at the Beaches a couple weeks ago, and I would say that, you know, is the kind of the pinnacle of what happened today. But for Brampton, the biggest key you got to figure out is try to get some defensive zone loose balls.
Oh, big stand by Aaron Taguri at the side of the crease.
Good battle with Pullen.
With him and Pullen up top. Big shot from Connor Blondin. And Taguri and Pullen are going to have a bit of a shoving match here at the Horn. Vincent coming in to make sure everyone goes their separate ways. And Mimico will indeed take a 1-0 lead here in the series with a 13-10 victory in game number 1.
It's going to be a fun playoff, Matty. We had an excellent one last night, and you know, one to add to the history books between these two clubs here. It's going to be a fun rest of the series. Make sure to get out to Memorial, get back here to Mimico Arena, catch as many of the games you can in person, but we'll have you as best as we can, including tomorrow night from the ILA.
That's where Donville and our crew will be at 7 p.m. If you're in Burlington, if you're in Brampton, if you're anywhere near Ted Reeve Arena, those are the spots to be tomorrow night. Take your phone and join us right here on the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League YouTube channel. For my partner, Jonathan Donville, Gary Morrison of the JVI Sports Network, and Colleen Grimes of the Ontario Junior Lacrosse League, we say good night from Mimico Arena. I'm Matthew Carrick. 13-10 is your final for Mimico, who take a 1-0 lead. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
We're living on our time, yeah. Downtown, top show, cute in a cocktail lounge. Crowd the boys and make some noise. It's dealer's choice, so pick your place of poison.